Hi everybody, hope you're doing well. My name is Saajid and welcome back to my channel. I know at this point y'all are probably a little bit fed up with the quarantined content because every video that I've been making on my channel so far has been like, these are the books that I plan on reading during quarantine. And that's kind of what this video is going to be as well. I will be doing the Stay Home Reading Rush tag as well as sharing my TBR for the Stay Home Reading Rush. I feel like most of y'all probably know what the Stay Home Reading Rush is. If you don't, go check out Ariel's announcement video over on the Reading Rush channel. The first question of the tag is, how is your reading going while staying home? And I would say it's been going pretty okay. I only really finished one book, and I'm not even sure if I finished that book before the whole quarantine thing started or around the time when it was kind of starting but not as serious as it is now. But I haven't finished anything else really. I've been doing assignments for school kind of in between reading, and one of the books that I'm reading right now that I'm hopefully going to try and finish today is a book that I have to read for an assignment that's due in like 2 days. So yeah, my reading has been going okay, and I think what has been helping me a lot is Quarantined Pages, which is a project that was started by Jerry over at Onyx Pages. She invited 6 of us to co-host with her this hour-long meeting on Zoom every single day where we all just sit down for a silent hour of reading, and it's fantastic. It's really fun. It's open to everybody, so if you want to join us, you could do that. I always put all of the Zoom links in my community tab here on YouTube, and you could also DM me on Twitter and Instagram for the links and passwords. So if you're interested in joining Quarantine Pages and coming on and reading with us and talking with us after, please do. It's open to everybody. And it's been a really fantastic thing because the reason why we started Quarantine Pages is because we kind of wanted to foster a sense of community in this time of social or physical distancing where we might all be feeling a little bit trapped and lonely perhaps. A lot of us are also in reading slumps because of the whole situation, so Quarantine Pages has been helpful for quite a few people to deal with a lot of those constraints that have been put on us because of the pandemic. So if you're interested in joining us for Quarantine Pages, check out my community tab. The next question is, where have you been reading at home? I've been mostly reading in my room because my room is my haven. I love it. It's amazing. It's very comfortable and I enjoy spending the majority, like 95% of my time here. I've also been going outside sometimes, setting up a chair on this little patio thing that we have outside, and I've been reading there as well, and that's been really good to just kind of soak in, you know, the vitamin D and taking the breeze and stuff. So I've been enjoying that as well. And going outside has been extremely like helpful to my mental health during this time where I feel trapped in the house all day. So I recommend reading outside in the yard if that's something you could do. The best book you've read during isolation. So as I said, I only kind of finished one book and I'm on the verge of finishing another. The one that I finished was Light at the Bottom of the World by London Shah. This is a YA sci-fi novel that is set in a futuristic underwater London. It's like a submarine road trip. The main protagonist is like on the run. There's political intrigue. There are like these killer mermaids. She's a Muslim. So it's just a really fantastic sci-fi story. So if you want to read some more YA sci-fi that isn't too heavy and that's fun and that's very fast-paced, I would recommend this one, especially if you are interested in exploring like an underwater setting, which is something that at least I haven't seen that much in the sci-fi books that I've encountered. So definitely pick this one up. It was great. And the next book that I'm reading is Valmiki's Daughter by Shani Mutu, which is about a very rich and very miserable family, primarily focusing on the dad, whose name is Valmiki, and his eldest daughter Viveka. They are both queer and closeted and miserable because of it, essentially, and this is a story about people who are trying to live for other people as opposed to themselves. The characters in this book are awful. I basically hate like all of them, with the exception of maybe a couple of them, but they're fascinating. They're just very fascinating. They're very interesting to read about, and Shani Mutu is an excellent writer. Her writing, her prose, it's just exquisite. Her description of the landscape and the environment is stunning. This book reads like a love letter to Trinidad, which is probably the main reason why I enjoy reading it so much. So I would definitely recommend the things that I've been reading so far. They're great. The next question is, what's your favorite feel-good book? And I had to think a while about this one, but if I had to pick a book that's just the definition of soft and pure, that would be Darius the Great Is Not Okay by Adib Khorram. This is a YA contemporary novel that's very character-driven. There's really no plot, really, and it's about a boy named Darius who is very insecure and going through a lot in his life, and everything is sort of uprooted when he has to take this very sudden trip to Iran with his family for the very first time for him, because his grandfather in Iran has recently fallen ill and might not make it. So they decided to take a trip to Iran to spend his last moments with him, and he is essentially connecting with the country of his heritage for the very first time, and it's leading to a lot of growth. You know, it's a coming of age story, and it's just absolutely adorable. You will want to hug this book and Darius and everybody in the world after you finish reading it. Hi everybody, editing Saajid here. I just wanted to pop in and say, yeah, don't hug everybody in the world. That's not really a good idea right now during this pandemic. Wait like a good 6 to 12 months. And even then, don't hug everybody in the world, because that's probably going to take a very long time. But yeah, back to the video. And I think it's a perfect choice for the stay-home reading rush. So if you're looking for a book that completes all of the challenges, this book is set in Iran. You might want to visit Iran one day. There are houses on the cover. It's a short YA novel that you could read in one room. And it's a book that'll put a smile on your face. So it completes all of the challenges. So if you are looking for something to read, pick up Darius the Great Is Not Okay. Something flew by my face. You see, this is the thing about opening my windows. I love the fresh air, but I don't love the other fresh things that come through. The next question is a book you wish you could buy or borrow from the library. And for me, this is definitely going to have to be The Beauty of Your Face by Sahar Mustafa. There's something flying in my room, and I am not happy about it. Rona, is that you? The book that I'm really excited for and wish I could have in my hands right now is The Beauty of Your Face by Sahar Mustafa. This is a literary fiction novel that came out quite recently, and it's following a... My goodness, what is this thing? I'm gonna try to ignore the thing that's flying in my room and talk about the damn book that I'm trying to talk about. So this story is set in Chicago. It follows a Palestinian-American Muslim woman who is the principal of an all-girls Muslim school in Chicago. And a white conservative shooter comes in and starts shooting the school. So it's a story about a mass shooting at a school. So definitely approach this one with caution, because I know that's a very sensitive topic in America. But it's kind of following her throughout the day while she's, I guess, hiding in the school or whatnot. And also reflecting on her life growing up and, being a child of immigrants from Palestine and whatnot. It sounds like it's going to be a really, really good book, and I'm very, very excited to read it. Another book I will add to this question is a book that I actually have to read for school and that I really, really want to get my hands on, but I have to wait a while before I could get it because shipping to Trinidad during the pandemic right now is a little bit tricky. And that book is called Far From Mecca, Globalizing the Muslim Caribbean by Aliyah Khan. This is, I believe, the first academic text that actually focuses specifically, like solely on the Caribbean Muslim experience and history. And I need this book in my life because I am right now doing a thesis that is focused on the Caribbean Muslim experience. So I am very, very excited to read this book. I feel like it will give me a lot of context and a lot of the answers that I'm looking for. And it would also help me kind of hone down what it is exactly I'm focusing on for my thesis, because it's a very untouched area. Not a lot of people, especially in the field of gender studies, have done much on Muslims in the Caribbean. So to read more work on Muslims in the Caribbean would help me narrow down what I'm focusing on. So I'm really, really excited to read this one soon, hopefully. The next question is an author that you would like to shout out at this time. And I would love to shout out one of my favorite authors of all time and one of my favorite people on the planet, and that is S.K. Ali. She has quite a few books out, actually. She has 2 YA novels. Her debut one is Saints and Misfits, which is a story about a young Muslim girl who is finding her voice after being the victim of a grave injustice. Really, really good, and a sequel is coming out later this year, so I highly recommend that you pick it up. She also wrote Love from A to Z, which is just a stunning love story that takes place in Doha, and it's beautiful and amazing, and I highly recommend it. And I think she has a few kids books, but the one that I have and that I've read that I love is Once Upon an Eid, which is actually a short story anthology that she edited with Aisha Saeed, and features authors like Randa Abdel Fattah and Hannah Al-Kaf and G. Willow Wilson. Just a really, really fantastic cohort of authors here telling wonderful stories about kids at Eid. It's an arc, so it actually hasn't come out as yet. I will be doing a review soon on my channel, but I think it's the perfect book for especially Muslims to read during this time, because Eid this year is probably going to be not the same as it always was, and that's going to be very devastating for a lot of Muslims. And this book, even though a lot of the stories are very light-hearted, there are some stories that deal with kids who are going through really tough things on each day. So I definitely think this is a really great collection for everybody to read during this time. The final question is, what is your reading rush TBR? And for this one, I will be showing you 2 books that I talked about in my 2 previous videos where I talked about the books that I'll be reading during quarantine. For a book with a house on the cover, I'll be reading Love After Love by Ingrid Prasad. This is a novel set here in Trinidad again, and it's about a Trinidadian family who is going through quite a bit. As you could tell, this cover that I have here does not have a house on it, but there's another edition of the book that does have a house. So this is an arc that I really need to read, and I think it already came out, so I already am overdue to read this book and review it. So I'm very much looking forward to it. The next challenge is to read a book all in one room of your house, and I will be reading An Unkindness of Ghosts by River Solomon. I will be continuing to read this book actually because I've already been reading it mostly in my bedroom, so I'll just be continuing to do that. And it's a sci-fi story set on a generation ship in a society that is essentially kind of mirrored after slavery, and the main protagonist that we're following is a descendant of Jamaicans, and she has a deceased mother. She finds like a journal from her mother and is learning a bunch of secrets about the spaceship that she's living in. It's really fantastic. The next challenge is to read a book set somewhere you would like to go, and I will be continuing to read another book that I'm yet currently reading, and that is A Silent Life by Ryan Shah. This book is set in Guyana, and not only have I always wanted to go to Guyana because my grandfather was actually from there, but I was actually supposed to go to Guyana for the Caribbean Studies Association and present at that event in June, and I was very excited to do that, but because of the pandemic, it was unfortunately cancelled. So I will instead be going next year. It got actually postponed, not cancelled, to 2021. But in the meantime, it would be fun to continue reading a book that's set in Guyana that is about a Guyanese family that I'm really, really enjoying. So go figure. And then the final challenge is to read a book that will put a smile on your face, and no other book I think will put a smile on my face than The Henna Wars by Adiba Jaigirdar. This is another act that I have to read. The book comes out on May the 12th, and it is a story about a queer Muslim girl named Nishat, and it's set in Ireland. I am so ready for this book. I know I'm going to love it. I hope I'm going to love it. I feel like I'll love it. It's definitely one that's high up on my list, and I feel like it's a story that I will love. So I've been vlogging my quarantine reading, and I will be vlogging this weekend as part of that, so you'll see my vlog sometime next week if you're interested in seeing how I do with my TPR. But that's going to be it for this video. Thank you all ever so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely, lovely day, and until next time, inshallah, keep reading.